The very first principle for transforming failure into success is to acknowledge and own the fall. In our modern world, we are conditioned to deflect blame, to make excuses, and to soften the blow of a setback. We say things like, "It wasn't my fault," "The circumstances were against me," or "I didn't try hard enough anyway." But this refusal to face reality is the single greatest barrier to growth. A warrior who has been defeated in battle must first admit they were beaten. They must look at the wounds, both physical and strategic, without flinching. This act of confronting the truth, no matter how painful, is not a sign of weakness. It is the ultimate act of power. It is the moment you reclaim your agency. To acknowledge the fall is to strip away all the emotional and psychological clutter that surrounds a mistake. It means looking at the situation and simply saying, "I failed." There is no need for self-recrimination or judgment. The statement is a simple, objective fact. This is the difference between wallowing in shame and conducting an honest assessment. Shame keeps you trapped in the past, paralyzed by regret. Ownership, however, is a key that unlocks the door to the future. It says, "This is the result of my actions, and therefore it is within my power to change them." The power of this principle lies in its ability to halt the cycle of self-deception. When you own a failure, you stop seeing yourself as a victim of circumstance and begin to see yourself as the author of your own destiny. You are no longer at the mercy of external forces, but rather you are the source of the problem and therefore the source of the solution. This is not about blame. It is about responsibility. Responsibility empowers you. It tells you that the path to success lies not in waiting for the world to change, but in changing yourself and your approach. This act of ownership also builds a powerful psychological resilience. Every time you face a failure directly and take responsibility for it, you are proving to yourself that you are capable of handling the truth. You are building a fortress of character that is unafraid of imperfection. This is the mindset of a true master. They are not flawless, but they are courageous enough to confront their flaws. They do not fear falling because they know with absolute certainty that they will rise again. In the end, acknowledging and owning the fall is the first step because it is the prerequisite for all subsequent action. You cannot correct a mistake you refuse to see. You cannot learn a lesson you refuse to accept. By taking full ownership of your failures, you lay the foundation for a new beginning, a solid ground from which you can plan your next move with clarity, wisdom, and an unwavering will. The second key to transforming failure is to analyze without emotion. Once you have acknowledged and owned your failure, the next and most critical step is to remove yourself from the emotional storm of the event, the pain. Anger or shame you feel is natural, but it is a poor guide. A mind clouded by emotion is incapable of clear thought. It will either dwell in self-pity or lash out in blame, neither of which leads to a productive outcome. To truly learn from your defeat, you must become a detached observer, like a general studying a battlefield after the fight is over. Your goal is not to feel, but to understand. This detached analysis involves a rigorous, almost scientific approach. You must systematically dissect the chain of events that led to the setback. What were the specific actions you took? What were the conditions of the situation? What was your mindset at each critical juncture? You are searching for the precise moment of the misstep, the specific flaw in your strategy or execution. This process is like a surgeon carefully identifying a tumor. You must be precise and unflinching in your search for the root cause. This is not about finding fault, but about finding a fix. By removing emotion from the analysis, you also prevent the failure from defining you. When you say, "My strategy was flawed," you are stating a fact about a specific event. This is fundamentally different from the emotionally charged statement, "I am a failure." The first statement is a temporary condition that can be corrected. The second is a permanent and debilitating identity. The detached analysis allows you to separate your inherent worth from your temporary performance, preserving your sense of self and enabling you to move forward without the heavy burden of shame. Furthermore, this principle teaches you to view every setback as a source of invaluable data. Each failure is a unique opportunity to gather information about your own limitations, the nature of your challenges, and the effectiveness of your methods. This knowledge is far more valuable than any temporary success, as it provides the raw material for genuine, long-lasting improvement. A person who only experiences success learns nothing about their breaking point, their true weaknesses, or the subtle complexities of their craft. It is in the detailed study of defeat that you truly become wise. Ultimately, the ability to analyze a failure without emotion is a mark of a mature and disciplined mind. It is the practice of converting pain into wisdom and frustration into action. It is the recognition that the greatest lesson is often found not in winning, but in the quiet, sober study of why you lost. This clear-sightedness is the foundation of a resilient spirit and the key that transforms a temporary defeat into a permanent victory. The third key principle is to find the hidden strength. In the immediate aftermath of a failure, it's easy to see only what was lost, the goal that was missed, the effort that seemed wasted, or the time that was spent in vain. But this is a superficial view. A deeper, more profound truth is that every setback, every stumble reveals a strength you did not know you possessed. The loss may be the main headline, but the resilience, the courage, and the newfound wisdom are the invaluable spoils of the battle. To find this hidden strength, you must actively look beyond the pain and recognize the valuable lessons and inner fortitude that were forged in the fire of defeat. This principle teaches that failure is not an empty experience, it is an act of creation. It creates in you a stronger resolve. It builds resilience, which is the ability to bounce back from adversity, not because you are lucky, but because you are hardened by experience. Perhaps in your failure, you realized you have a greater capacity for patience than you thought, or you discovered a well of discipline you didn't know you had. The true measure of a person is not how they perform when things are easy, but how they respond when the ground crumbles beneath them. By finding the hidden strength, you acknowledge that your character has been improved and your internal resources have been expanded. The act of looking for these hidden strengths also fundamentally changes your relationship with the concept of failure itself. That is the number R. Instead of seeing it as a sign of personal inadequacy, you begin to see it as a demanding but essential part of your training. Each setback becomes a challenge to find and develop a new skill or a more robust mindset. It is the crucible where your genuine limits are tested and where you prove to yourself that you are tougher, more adaptable, and more determined than you initially believed. This reframing turns a negative experience into a source of positive affirmation, validating your effort and reinforcing your ability to overcome future obstacles. Furthermore, this principle gives you a solid foundation for your next attempt. The courage you showed in making the attempt, the patience you demonstrated in the face of frustration, and the self-awareness you gained from the experience are all assets. You are not starting from scratch. You are beginning your next endeavor from a position of greater knowledge and inner power. The wisdom gained from a single failure often outweighs the benefit of 100 easy victories, because it is a wisdom born of direct, unyielding experience. It is a lesson that is deeply felt, not just intellectually understood. In the end, finding the hidden strength is the step that turns a personal defeat into a strategic victory. It ensures that you do not leave the field empty-handed. You may have lost the immediate contest, but you have gained invaluable insight into your own character and capabilities. This is the warrior's reward, the certainty that no matter the outcome, you are a stronger and more capable person than you were before the challenge began. The fourth key to transforming failure is to embrace the phoenix principle. A phoenix does not simply get up after it falls, it burns itself to ash and is reborn anew. This is a profound metaphor for the true nature of growth. Many people, after a setback, try to salvage what they can from the old, flawed plan. They cling to the strategies, beliefs, or even the identity that led to the failure in the first place. But true transformation requires a willingness to let go, to completely annihilate the old form in order to make way for a new, stronger one. Failure is not just a detour, it is a fire that offers you the chance to burn away everything that no longer serves your higher purpose. This principle demands a high level of courage. It's easy to hold on to a flawed plan because it is familiar. It is comfortable even in its ineffectiveness. But the Phoenix principle tells you to look at the wreckage of your failure and ask, what here needs to be completely destroyed? This could be an outdated skill set, a stubborn belief about how things should be done, a toxic relationship, or a career path that is simply not working. The fire of failure provides a unique opportunity to shed these burdens, to clear the ground so that you can build something new and more resilient from the ashes. It is the wisdom to know when to pivot, to let go of sunk costs, and to start with a clean slate. By embracing this principle, you are also fundamentally changing your relationship with loss. Instead of seeing it as a devastating blow, you begin to see it as a necessary act of cleansing. You are not losing something of value. You are discarding something that was holding you back. This reframing is liberating. It frees you from the emotional weight of regret and allows you to move forward with a sense of clarity and purpose. The old plan is not gone. It has been transmuted into a powerful lesson. The fire of failure has done the difficult work of showing you what needs to be eliminated, leaving you with only the pure essence of the lesson learned. Furthermore, this act of annihilation and rebirth strengthens your sense of self-reliance. You prove to yourself that your identity is not tied to any single outcome or strategy. You are not the person who failed. You are the person who is capable of rebuilding. This is a powerful form of psychological liberation. It gives you the confidence to take risks in the future, knowing that even if the path ends in a fire, you have the inner strength to rise from the ashes. You become an individual who thrives on change and innovation rather than being crippled by a fear of loss. Ultimately, the Phoenix principle is the ultimate expression of turning a negative into a positive. It acknowledges the destructive power of failure and harnesses it for a creative purpose. By willingly letting go and embracing the complete overhaul that a setback can offer, you transform a moment of defeat into the powerful beginning of your next, more successful chapter. The fifth key to transforming failure is to reframe the narrative. Our experience of failure is not determined by the event itself, but by the story we tell ourselves about it. Most people fall into the trap of a destructive narrative, one that labels them as a victim, a loser, or an imposter. This story, once it takes hold, can become a self-fulfilling prophecy that paralyzes future efforts. To truly learn and grow from a setback, you must consciously and deliberately rewrite this internal script. You must see the failure not as a period at the end of a sentence, but as a comma, a turning point in a much longer and more compelling tale of growth and triumph. This reframing is an act of proactive storytelling. Instead of saying, "I'm not good enough, and that's why I failed," you must change the script to, "I'm on a journey of mastery, and this setback is a lesson I needed to learn to get to the next level." This is not an act of denial, it's an act of empowerment. You are not changing the facts of what happened, but you are changing the meaning you assign to those facts. This new narrative allows you to view the failure as a temporary challenge, a crucial plot twist, rather than a permanent indictment of your character. It shifts the focus from who you are to what you did and what you will do next. The power of reframing also lies in its ability to build a robust mental model for how the world works. A person who sees failure as a sign of personal inadequacy will be crippled by the fear of making a mistake. A person who sees failure as an inevitable part of the learning process, like a scientist whose experiment failed, or a sculptor whose first attempt at a statue broke, is free to continue experimenting and trying new things. This perspective fosters a mindset of resilience and curiosity, where every outcome, successful or not, provides valuable information. You are no longer on a mission to be perfect. You are on a mission to learn. By actively crafting this new narrative, you are also inoculating yourself against the judgment of others. When you have a strong, positive story about your own journey, the opinions and criticisms of the outside world lose their power. You are not defined by a single outcome, but by your unwavering commitment to your path. You can look someone in the eye after a setback and say, "Yes, that didn't go as planned, and here's what I learned from it. I'm already working on the next step." This confidence is the product of an internal narrative that is solid and self-affirming. Ultimately, reframing the narrative is the final and most crucial step in turning a setback into a springboard. It is the practice of becoming the author of your own life story, refusing to let any single chapter define the entire book. By consciously choosing to see failure as a necessary part of your journey towards success, you transform a moment of pain into a powerful and motivating part of your personal legend. The sixth key to transforming failure is to take decisive, immediate action. Wisdom gained from a setback is like a sharpened blade left in its sheath. It has the potential to do great things, but it is useless until it is applied. Many people make the critical mistake of getting stuck in the analysis phase. They understand what went wrong and what they should do next, but they fail to take that crucial first step. The longer you wait, the more likely you are to fall back into old patterns of thought and behavior. Decisive, immediate action is the bridge that connects the lesson of the past to the improved performance of the future. It is the moment you translate intellectual understanding into physical reality. This principle is about seizing the moment of insight. After a failure, your mind is in a heightened state of awareness. The lesson is fresh, the pain is real, and the desire to correct the course is at its peak. This is the optimal time to act by taking a single concrete step immediately, whether it's rewriting a flawed plan, practicing a specific skill you know you need to improve, or reaching out to a mentor for advice. You are locking in the lesson. This action prevents the lessons of failure from becoming just another piece of forgotten knowledge. It transforms the setback from a source of regret into a catalyst for tangible progress. Furthermore, immediate action prevents the paralysis of analysis from setting in. The longer you sit with your failure, the more time your mind has to conjure up new fears and doubts. It will start to invent reasons why the next attempt will also fail, why the challenge is too big, or why you are not capable. A single decisive step cuts through this mental fog. It is a powerful statement of intent. It tells your subconscious that you are a person who acts, not just a person who thinks. This practice builds a momentum of progress that is far more effective than any amount of careful planning alone. This principle also embodies the warrior's mindset of proactive response. A true master does not dwell on a blow. They use the information from that blow to adjust their stance and counter-attack. The failure is the blow. The analysis is the assessment. The immediate action is the counter-attack. This is a cycle of continuous improvement. The goal is not to be perfect, but to be always learning and always adapting. By taking immediate action, you are practicing this cycle, making it a natural and reflexive part of your response to any challenge. Ultimately, that is the number R. Taking decisive, immediate action is the difference between learning from failure and simply experiencing it. It ensures that the pain and effort of the setback were not in vain. It proves that you are committed to your growth and that you possess the courage to act on your newfound wisdom. It is the final and most critical step in turning a stumble into a stepping stone.